Hello. Welcome to Live Fridays with me, Jessica from Jessica Dunn Coaching. I hope you've had a fabulous week. And today I am talking about overwhelm. That's what I've been sharing about all week and seems to be resonating with a few of you. As I've mentioned in the past, usually the things that I write about, I am going through as well. And this one was actually, this subject was prompted by my own personal overwhelm when I was struggling to figure out what to share about within this week. And I realized, wow, my creativity is a little tapped out because I am totally overwhelmed with a bunch of projects and, unexpected things that are going on. So how's that all landing for you? How many of you here are experiencing similar things that there's just so much going on and it's a little bit hard to manage? One of the things that I shared is, one of the things that's uncomfortable about overwhelm is how out of control it can all feel. I know that for myself, the tendency, the feeling or the analogy that I have when I'm in overwhelm is I feel like I'm in a car on a freeway and I know I've taken the wrong turn and I can't find an off-ramp to get off, right? And that off-ramp would be something like, okay, like taking a moment, even a shoulder and just kind of figuring out everything that is adding and contributing to that overwhelm. But you have to, right? This is the biggest irony in the overwhelm is that feeling that we can't stop, that you just have to keep going and going and going until you get to a point where if you haven't consciously stopped, life will somehow find a way to stop you. And that, that shows up as, burnout or, getting sick or something that just forces that slowdown. So how do you stop before you get to that point? Let's talk about it. One of the things that I do and that I recommend to all of my clients is to do a brain dump. And what that looks like is getting out of your regular environment. I work at home, so it makes it, like my home is where I work where I live. I make sure that my workspace, I have this office and work is really focused here. I try not to do work in other areas of the house, but it also means that if I'm here, I feel like working. So when I reach that point where I'm like, I've got too many things ping-ponging or pinballing around in my mind, I try to go to a coffee shop somewhere where I know no one's going to disturb me. I turn my phone off and I just bring a journal, pen, and I start dumping everything that I've got, filling up my head out onto the page in front of me. So the purpose is twofold. You empty your brain, which then makes some more space for creative solutions to come out. But when everything that's in there is out on the page, it allows you to take a step back and allows you to kind of gather the ability to start to do the next part of the step, which is start to organize. So you sort of organize things, you start to identify categories. So step 2 is the categorize. Once you've identified, okay, maybe I've got this work category and there might be subcategories in the work category. And you start to plug each of those little things into that. And then you've got the house category. You might have the personal care category. And this all happens as you're starting to do this brain dump. Suddenly this other thing pops up. Oh yeah, I need to make an appointment. I need to follow up with that doctor. I got these tests done. It just sort of starts to spill out. So once you've organized, categorized, then you prioritize, right? So you might be needing a couple of different pages for this. So once you prioritize everything, you might be able to start to identify what you need to do, which that's at the top of the priority list. And then you can look at maybe what other people can do for you. Seems pretty simple. And the other component of this that I want to acknowledge is, you might have a situation where you feel like you can't delegate anything to anyone. And maybe that's true, but maybe it's not. Can you not delegate, or do you feel uncomfortable delegating? Like if you ask for help, is that some sign of weakness? Which is, that's a whole other conversation. But that kind of thing is just, the tip of the iceberg, the strategy for allowing you to see really all of what could be overwhelming you or what could be adding to that overwhelm. And while it won't fix and make everything go away, which is probably what you kind of want to do when you're in overwhelm, it does allow you to see it from the outside rather than have it all like filling up your brain space. That's an important stop to take when you're on that highway that just feels like there's no stopping to it. It's like the worst merry-go-round ever, right? So, that's just one of the things. I'm not seeing any comments here, which is totally fine. I would love to know, what do you struggle with when you're in overwhelm? How do you know that you're in overwhelm? What are the signs for you? The other thing with overwhelm is that when you are in a constant state of it and there is no relief for an extended period of time, it can turn into burnout. And that's what I'm going to be sharing about next week. There's like these progressions of everything that I want to make sure that it all makes sense. So when you are approaching that burnout stage, that's a big red flag. It's like your engine light is on. So, question. Do you know how to pay attention to that engine light? Do you know how to pay attention to when everything in your life is telling you that you need to pause for a moment? What is it that you tell yourself? What's really beneath that story that you can't pause, that you have to keep going until you're out of fuel, until the oil pan is dry? I'd love to know. Let me know what you need support with. Pop that into the comments and I'll answer over the course of whenever these show up. And stay tuned for next week, which is all about burnout, which is a subject I know a lot about. And I'm really committed to helping people, avoid it and come back from it and really tune into, what it is that our soul is calling out for when we're approaching that point. And usually it's for a deep rest, but what do you need to rest for? So have yourselves a fabulous weekend. If you're catching this on the replay, have a fabulous whatever day it is, and I will see you soon. Next week won't be a live. I'll give you guys a recording. But for those of you who are getting ready for back to school, who've already sent your kids back to school, I hope that coming back into routine is going to give you a little bit more space in your own hearts and giving you a little bit more structure. Take care. Bye for now.